Okay, and we're gonna get started standing at the top of the mat tonight. And I'm gonna face you, but you'll be at the top of your mat like this. Okay, I'll face you. And let's just take a cleansing breath together. Deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Let's do that 2 more times. Deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. We'll do that 1 more time on your own. And now let's go ahead and close the eyes. And start to connect with this moment with your body on your mat. Hands are down by the side. See if you can find a little softness in the knees, maybe feeling that joint sliding together, holding, connecting the top half and then the bottom half of the legs together. And then let's do a scan of the body starting from the feet, traveling all the way up to the crown of the head. And then just noticing how the energy feels in your body tonight. And maybe you feel a little excited about the fun class that I have planned for you. Maybe you've had a long day and you're really going to be pushing out the very last bit of energy into this class. But just noticing and acknowledging how you feel in this moment and how the body feels. And we do this for 2 reasons. One is just to become present into this moment, to start to leave behind any distractions from the day and the things that we still have ahead. So becoming present, but then also to create a mindfulness around just where we're at physically and even mentally, and to kind of prepare ourselves for this next hour of practice together. And so that you can honor what your body needs in your practice. And then once you've finished your scan, let's come into, bring the attention to your breath. And so noticing the natural inhale and exhale, whatever that rhythm, whatever that pattern is. And then noticing where that breath lands in the body. So maybe in this standing posture, maybe you notice it coming into the rib cage and the upper part of the chest. Maybe you're feeling it in the low ribs and the low ribs expanding. We're not changing anything about the breath yet, but just noticing where in the body the breath is. And again, this is just creating mindfulness and presence around the context, the texture, and the presence of our breath. And then we're going to use our Ujjayi pranayama, the victorious breath. So finding a slight constriction in the back of the throat. And then with the mouth closed, start breathing in and out through the nose. And you're creating a soft, kind of gentle whisper sound in the back of the throat. And so we're going to maintain this breath for the duration of class. And this victorious breath helps stoke our inner fire, our Agni. And this breath helps us stay tethered to our mats, to our practice, helps keep the mind from wandering. And then maybe setting up a rhythm with your breath, a rhythm or a pattern that allows you to use to guide the length of the movements. So just imagining if you were to step forward using the length of an inhale to step forward, and then the length of an exhale for the second leg to come up. So just imagining, we're not moving yet, but that's the idea of using the breath, the length of the breath to guide the length of the movement. And now let's come in. So from this standing posture, let's come into our mountain pose. So first we're going to start with feet about hip distance apart, and hip distance is about a fist and a half of space between the big toes. So if you want to even plug your hands down between the toes and adjust your posture. I know us ladies, we like to think that our hips are, all the way out here, but we're really just taking our bones, the bones in the leg, and they're just coming straight down from the hip sockets. So it's about a fist and a half of space. And then really grounding down. So maybe bend the knees a little bit and see if you can kind of find some connection with the bottom of the feet. So we're trying to find 3 points of contact, the three quote unquote corners of the feet. So we have the heel point, the center point of the foot, which is the heel point. Then we have the big toe mound and the big toe and the little toe mound. And so it's in this little triangle shape that we're creating and anchoring into the earth in both feet. So maybe bending the knees and kind of just rocking a little bit forward and back, finding that connection between those three corners of the feet. And then find some stillness. Draw the kneecaps up. So by doing that, we're activating the backside of the legs. So the calves kind of fire up. And then maybe even the quadriceps turn on with that lift of the kneecaps. And then drawing the navel in toward the spine. So kind of get tall in the spine, draw the navel in toward the spine. Notice if the ribs have flared out a little bit and see if you can draw the ribs back in toward your abdomen. And then hands come down to the side, palms facing toward the top of your mat. And then roll the shoulder blades back. So imagine your shoulder blades just resting, gliding, sliding down the back. We're resting the shoulder blades on the back here. And then kind of find a neutral tilt in the pelvis. So maybe even playing with tilting the pelvis all the way back and maybe tilting the pelvis all the way forward and finding some neutrality in the pelvis. Spine is long, and then the head is an extension of the spine. And this is our mountain pose, our powerful, strong mountain pose. So we're going to be challenging the balance today. We're going to be teetering on our edges, around our edges today. And this balance is really important. So feeling that earthly pull, that gravitational pull, and that connection, and the power in your body, keeping you grounded and rooted here. So we're going to just take we're going to just do a little bit of a flow here, standing. So we'll inhale, reach the hands to the sky. And then exhale, hinging forward at the hips, keeping a slight bend in the knee, coming all the way down. Again, using the length of the breath to guide this movement, meeting in a forward fold. And then we'll inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins, spine is long and flat. So think flat back. And the head is an extension of the spine. And then tilt the sit bones behind you. And then exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky. Upward salute. And then on the exhale, palms together, bringing hands to heart center, back into your mountain pose. So we're going to do this flow a couple more times. We're going to do it 2 more times. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. So coming into the full expression of this pose at the end of the inhale, and then coming into the full expression on the exhale of your forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky, upward salute. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And so if your breath is on a different rhythm than mine, let's keep going on your own breath. And if your breath is at a different rhythm and pace than I'm cueing in mine, follow that rhythm. We're just waking up the body here, flowing, feeling good in our movements, connecting mind, breath, and body. The next time you're in mountain pose, let's pause. And we're going to come up onto the ball of the feet. So we're going to start to point the toes, flex the foot, point the toes. We're going to stand. I know this is traditionally called standing on your toes, but you're standing on the ball of the foot. And the toes are providing some support and balance. And then with some playfulness and curiosity here. So again, we're challenging balance. So know that the movements are going to be challenged here, but we're going to take that same kind of round of movement and I'll cue you. So inhale, reach the hands to the sky, still on your tiptoes. And then exhale, see if you can hinge forward at the hips, keeping a bend in the knees, and very slowly coming into your forward fold, maybe keeping the heels still lifted off of the earth. And then when you reach your forward fold, allow the heels to rest. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Let's flow like that for a few times. So inhale, go ahead and take your lift, and then inhale, reach the hands to the sky. So we're on our tiptoes or on the ball of the foot. And then exhale, hinging forward at the hips, keeping a slight bend in the knee, coming into your forward fold, releasing the heels. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. Maybe come up onto your tiptoes in your rise, coming into upward salute on the tiptoes. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. So staying on those tiptoes, inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, keeping a slight bend in the knees. It's okay if you wobble, it's okay if you fall. It's all part of the practice. Allow the heels to reach down toward the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, upward salute, come up onto those toes, the balls of the feet again. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Release the heels to the earth, and then just shake that all out. It might feel good to shake out the feet, shake out the ankles. All right. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward. Inhale, no, actually, don't bend the knees and gaze forward. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, draw the knee in, down through the chest, and step the right foot between the palms, between your hands. Stay high on the ball of that back foot and start to get grounded. So finding those 3 points of connection in that right foot. And then inhale, rise up, crescent pose. And this is our first crescent of the evening. So let's just check in with our alignment here. Plugging that right femur bone into the hip socket and plugging that left femur bone up into that hip socket. And then really strong and active back leg here. Shoulders are stacked over hips. Navel is drawn in toward the spine and really knit in those low ribs. Maybe find a little lift in the heart. Hands can be at heart center, or they can be reaching up and overhead. And then maybe staying here, if this feels like a good challenge, or maybe coming up onto the ball of the right foot. So you're basically tiptoeing in this crescent pose. Breathe. Use the breath to help you find stability and balance. Exhale, release that right heel back down to the earth. Allow the palms to come out in front of the left foot and then the right foot, and then step the left foot up to meet the right, meeting in a forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sink the hips back, reach the arms to the sky, chair pose. Let's bring hands to heart center and just check in with our alignment. Knees are behind the toes. Navel is drawn into the spine. The spine is long and tall. Knit those low ribs in. Head is an extension of the spine, reaching energetically out through the crown of the head. And maybe shifting forward onto the balls of the feet, coming into this tippy toe chair. Woo! Again, using the breath to keep us balanced. On your next exhale, release the heels down to the earth, hinge forward, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Shift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, draw the left knee in, down through center, step the left foot between the hands. Stay high on the ball of the back foot, and then finding those three corners in your left foot. So really getting grounded and rooted in here. Inhale, rise up, high crescent pose. Checking in with our alignment. Left femur bone is plugged into that left hip socket, right into the right, lifting that right thigh up to the sky. Shoulders stacked over hips. Draw the navel into the spine. Maybe lift the heart. Hands come to heart center or reaching up overhead. And if you want to experiment and play with that lifted left heel variation, maybe lifting that left heel off of the earth. Coming into this tippy toe crescent. Breathe. Send the breath to that left side, to that left calf, that left ankle, that left foot. Exhale, release the left heel to the earth, plant the hands, draw the right foot up to meet the left, forward fold at the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sink the hips back, reach the arms high, chair pose. Option to take that tippy toe chair or just hold your chair for some breath. Breathing. Exhale, release the heels to the earth. Hinge forward at the hips, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. I'm gonna break down a vinyasa. So inhale, shifting forward, shoulders beyond hands, just beyond your fingertips. And then on the exhale, lowering all the way down to the belly. Release the tops of the feet, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Draw the elbows in toward one another, and then inhale, reach the heart forward, cobra pose. Exhale, push up, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So that whole little movement was what we refer to as a vinyasa. It's a flow. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, let's step the right foot behind the left palm, the right palm, the right hand. And then spin that back foot flat. And then the left toes are pointing toward the top left corner of the mat. So it's at a 45-ish degree angle. Find some grounding, rooting down into those three corners, even here. And then inhale, rise up, reach the hands to the sky. Warrior one. And we want to make sure that we're not on a tightrope here so that you have some space. So if I were to step my feet up together, they wouldn't be right next to each other or right in front of each other. There would be maybe a couple of feet of space in between that stance. This helps keep us strong in our foundation here. And just like in our crescent, plugging those femur bones into the hip sockets and really keeping that back leg strong and active. Shoulders stacked over hips, and then hip points are pointed toward the top of the mat. Let's bring hands to heart center. And then maybe experiment here, lifting that front, the right heel off of the earth. Noticing how this feels different in this shorter stance than in our crescent pose. Maybe it's a little bit easier to balance with the support, the strength, and the stability in that back leg. Exhale, release that right heel to the earth. Plant the hands in front of the feet, and then step the left foot up to meet the right, coming into your forward fold at the back, at the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, you guessed it, chair pose, baby. Sink those hips back. Hands are reaching up to the sky, or you can draw them into heart center. And then if you like to play and experiment with those with your tippy toe chair. So this is kind of the one time where we have the permission to let those knees come out in front of the toes. I read a really interesting article about giving the body the permission to do and condition it in ways to prepare itself for discomfort off the mat. Exhale, release the heels to the earth, hinging forward at the hips, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. I'm going to break down the second vinyasa option so you can release the knees to the earth, hinge forward, shoulders just beyond your fingertips, lowering halfway for chaturanga. You do have the option of lifting the legs for a challenge. And then exhale, release the tops of the feet down onto the earth, and then lift the heart forward, coming into upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, shift the hips up and back, meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot behind the left hand. Spin onto the back foot flat. Right toes are pointing toward the top right corner of the mat. So again, 45-ish degree angle. Find those three corner points in your feet to anchor you down and to root you down. See if you can release any gripping in your toes. That will help you find those points of contact in your feet. And then when you feel strong, inhale, rise up, warrior one. Well, how's your alignment? Find that spiraling effect, plugging the femur bones into the hips, hip points placed toward the top of the mat. Lift that back leg strong. That thigh is strong. There'd be no moving that leg because you're so rooted, so strong, and so anchored into the earth here. Shoulders stacked over hips. Hands can come to heart center or reaching up and overhead. Maybe sink in a little bit deeper into that left knee. And then if you would like to experiment with lifting the left toes, coming onto the ball of the left foot. And then again, just noticing how this feels different on this side than when we were in our crescent pose, where both feet were balancing on the ball of the foot. And here we have the strength, the support, and the stability of that beautiful, strong back leg. Exhale, release that left heel down to the earth, plant the hands, step the right foot up to meet the left, meeting in your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. I'm sorry, Susan. Inhale, chair pose, sink your hips back. Reach the arms to the sky. Option to bring your hands to heart center or keep them lifted. And you can take that tippy toe chair if you would like to play around with that tippy toe chair. On your next exhale, release the heels to the earth, hinge forward at the hips, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. And then option to take the vinyasa of your choice. So again, you can lower all the way to the belly and take that cobra, or you can lower halfway to the chaturanga and then release the tops of the feet, pulling the heart forward for upward facing dog. We all meet in downward facing dog. When you get there, let's take a cleansing breath together. So big, deep inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Beautiful. Let's walk the hands to the back of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Let's just pause here for just a moment. Finding a slight bend in the knees, allow the torso, the belly to rest on top of the thighs here. So maybe that means an even deeper bend in the knees, around the spine. Hands are coming, dripping down toward the earth. Now we're gonna start to pick up the, let's see what feet, yeah, right foot. So maybe just starting with coming onto the ball of that right foot. So kind of like tippy toeing on the right foot. We're still in this folded position, just getting lighter, starting to shift the weight over into the left foot now. And see if again, you can find the anchoring of that left foot here. So we're shifting that weight over, finding a slight bend still in that left knee. We're not hyperextending. And then draw the right heel in toward the glute. And then we're gonna slowly rise up, coming into single leg mountain. Allow the right knee to come in line with the right hip. Hands come to heart center. Yeah, feel that strength and that balance. Ooh, where did that come from? All right, take an inhale here. And then on your exhale, stepping that right foot all the way up to the top of the mat, coming in to crescent pose, right leg forward. Hands come to heart center, and then lifting that right heel off of the earth. And let's pause here for a few rounds of breath, letting the breath steady the mind, steady the body, and maybe even steadying the heart. Using the power of your Ujjayi pranayama. This is your victorious breath, the breath that lights our inner fire. That's what we're tapping into here. So maybe you feel the fire in your legs as we cook in this pose. It feels so good. Take an inhale. And your next exhale, release that right heel to the earth. And then start to get light on that back knee, bend into that back knee. Start to get light on that foot, keeping hands at heart center. And we're gonna step up, coming into warrior 3. So lifting the back leg, coming onto the right leg here, hinging forward, balancing, gazes down toward the mat, the earth in front of you. Hands are still at heart center. Maybe keeping a slight bend in that right knee. If you're challenged with balance, maybe bringing your right hand to your right thighs, or maybe even onto the left calf. If you have a chair or a wall, maybe holding onto a wall. Lift that left heel to the sky. Flex the foot and really lift that left foot up to the sky. Think powerful leg like we had in our warrior 1. That's what we have here lifted in our warrior 3. Take another inhale, exhale, let the left foot down to meet the right, hinging forward, coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Let's ragdoll this for a moment, clasping opposite elbows here, keeping a slight bend in the knees, maybe swaying from side to side. You guys are doing so good. Let that go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose, and then option to take your vinyasa or skip it, meeting in downward facing dog. When you get to down dog, walk the hands to the back of the mat. Begin to shift weight into the right foot, and then find first that little pointing of the left foot. So resting still on the ball of that left foot. Start to maybe lift the toes of the right foot and find those three corners of the foot to anchor into the earth, keeping a slight bend in that right knee, and then lifting the left heel up to the left glute. And we're going to stand all the way up, coming into our single leg mountain with the left knee in line with the left hip. Hands come to heart center. Woo, that feels so good. Where can we draw strength when we feel unbalanced? Take an inhale. And on your exhale, stepping all the way up, coming into crescent pose, left leg in front now. Coming into alignment here. Hands come to heart center. And without thinking about what's coming, just take an inhale and reach that left heel off of the mat. Breathe. Using the breath to steady the body, steady the mind, to steady the heart. Very slowly release that left heel down to the earth, and then starting to shift your weight forward, bend into that right knee, and then get light on that back foot, letting the back leg lift up to the sky. Spine is straight and long, hands are still at heart center, the gaze is in front of you. Keep that right foot flexed and lift that leg to the sky. Toes are pointing down toward the mat. Warrior 3. Option again, if you'd like to find some additional support or balance here. Hands can be resting on the thigh, maybe the calf, maybe you have a wall or a chair. A couple of yoga blocks would be nice. If you can draw the navel into the spine, really use the strength of your core to balance you in this pose. On your next exhale, allow the right foot down to meet the left, hinging forward into your forward fold. Allow the head to be heavy, the spine to round, keeping a slight bend in the knees. And let's let the hands rest on the earth here. And notice if your shoulders are hunching up toward your ears. See if we can slide the shoulder blades down the back. These folding forward poses give us opportunities for introspection and self-reflection. So as we've been challenged in our balance and in our strength and our practice, noticing here and reflecting on maybe what's come up for you. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Option to take a vinyasa. We all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, step the right foot all the way through. Spin flat onto the left foot, and left toes are pointed toward the left side of the mat. We're coming into warrior 2 with the right leg out in front. So cartwheel the arms all the way up. And then plugging those femur bones into their hip sockets, creating that spiraling effect so that the torso is facing the left side of the mat. Right knee is tractioning midline of that foot. So just noticing if the knee wants to splay inward, see if you can energetically use the strength of the inner leg to pull it back out toward the outside of the foot. Shoulders are stacked over hips, arms come out to the side like a T, and gazes over your right middle finger. Sink a little deeper into that right knee. Yeah. Maybe, because I know how much you guys are loving these tippy toes, maybe lifting the right heel off of the earth. What a cool warrior this is, right? Breathe. And so if the breath is not enough, where else can you draw strength from? Maybe within keeping that right heel lifted, inhale, reverse your warrior. Right arm comes up and overhead, left hand slides down the back of the leg. Exhale, keeping again that heel lifted, extended side angle, right forearm, right thigh, left arm up and overhead. Yeah. Breathing. Inhale, come back to your warrior two. Stay one more round of breath here. Let the shakes come, let the shakes happen. On the next exhale, release that right heel to the earth. Straighten that right leg. Turn the toes toward the left side of the mat. Oh, my right leg is so good now that I've let it go. Hands come to the hip. Find a slight bend in the knees. And then exhale, hinging forward, coming into your wide leg forward fold. Arms come down to the earth. Again, keeping a slight bend in the knees here. We're not hyperextending. And then tilt the sit bones to the sky. Let the spine round and the head be heavy. And we find ourselves once again in this folding position. So taking this opportunity for introspection. What has come up for you in your practice today? Maybe the ways that your breath give you stability when life is teetering. Maybe you find strength in your community and support, knowing that we're all doing this together. Or maybe you're just noticing you don't really like tippy toe exercises very much. And so you're grateful that I had you do them tonight, because otherwise you never would. Draw the hands in toward the hips, very slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. The head comes up last. Let's turn the right toes toward the front of the mat. Spiral cartwheel the hands to frame that right foot. Step the right foot back, high plank pose. Option to take the vinyasa. We meet in downward facing dog. From your down dog, inhale, reach that left heel to the sky. Exhale, is this right? Yeah. Step the left foot all the way through between the hands. Spin onto the knife edge of that right foot so the right toes are facing toward the right side of the mat. I'm gonna face you guys. And then cartwheeling all the way up into our warrior two. Checking in, making sure those bones are coming into our hips. Stacking shoulders over hips here, torsos facing toward the left side of the mat, right side of the mat, right side of the mat. Sink into that left knee, noticing if it's splaying inward. See if you can find some tractioning the knee coming out about midline of that foot. Arms come out to the side like a T. Gazes over that left middle finger. And this will be our last tippy toe of the evening. So I say go for it. Lift that left heel off of the earth. Maybe sink a little deeper into that left knee. Oh yeah, feel it cooking. Using that victorious breath, that Ujjayi pranayama, to stoke the fire. Send strength and energy that left leg, that left calf, that left ankle, left leg. Maybe keeping that heel lifted. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Left arm comes up and overhead. And then on the exhale, extended side angle, left forearm, left thigh, right arm up and overhead. Oh, yes. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, release that left heel to the earth. Straighten the left leg. Point the toes toward the right side of your mat. Bring hands to hips, finding a slight bend in the knees. And then on the exhale, hinging forward into your wide-legged forward fold. If you'd like to deepen this forward fold a little bit, you can walk the feet out a little bit wider, still keeping a slight bend in the knees though, just letting you get a little deeper into the inner thigh, if that feels good. So hands can rest on the earth, avoiding scrunching of the shoulders around the ears. So slide the shoulder blades down the back. So the shoulders are somewhat active here, while the rest of the body is mostly active. I'm sorry, passive. Allow the spine to round and the head to dip down toward the earth. Staying connected with the breath. Don't let the mind wander. We're staying present for the sensations and the experiences that are happening in the body so that we can be mindful in our movements. We can be mindful in our practice. If you took a wider stance, maybe start to bring the feet a little closer together. And then taking your hands to your hips very slowly, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Head comes up last. And then cartwheeling those hands to frame the left foot, stepping back, high plank pose. Option to take your vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. I'm going to check our time. See how much of our, oh yeah, we're doing so good on time. Oh, awesome, guys, we killed it today. From your down dog, let's step all the way through. If you grabbed a blanket, I think I had sent a message, and if you didn't, it's okay, you don't have to have one. I love to use this little extra support for our seated forward folds. So if you do have a blanket or a towel, just folding, find a little bit of lift. This just helps us, because when we're sitting, many of us have a tendency to round the low back. So we have these arches in the low back or in the back. And when we sit, it makes that lumbar, which normally has a curve inward, makes it round outward. And so it makes it a little bit more challenging for us to sit up straight and get into those back sides of the legs. So if you have that option, if you have that blanket, if you like this option, let's take it. So finding a little lift, allowing us to find some neutrality in the pelvis. And then feet are flexed, legs are long in front of us. And then really try and flex those toes pointing in toward the nose. So legs are pretty active here. And then see if you can release the tops of the thighs. So our quads like to get involved here, but see if you can relax them. Okay. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. And we're going to start with a straight spine. So hinging forward and pausing at your first line of resistance. So wherever that is in the body. So that first point of tugging that you might feel in the back of the legs, or maybe it's in the low back or the hips, and just pausing there. Allow the hands to come to the earth. Keep the spine long, and you don't have to move yet. We'll give you a couple of options to deepen this pose here in a minute. Draw the navel into the spine and notice how that might change or make the length in the spine feel a little bit more supported here. Flexing the feet. And then if you'd like a deeper option or you're ready for a little bit more, just on the exhale, allows your own wisdom of your body to guide you to go a little bit deeper. And so here you can round the spine if you would like to round and get into the back a little bit more. Allow the head to fold forward toward the knees. If you would like to just stay in the back of the legs, maybe keeping the spine long and really using your hands to kind of create some traction onto the mat and kind of pulling the heart forward. So spine is long, we're not rounding, but I'm giving you the option, whichever of the two you like, whatever you need today. If you're rounding the spine and folding the head in toward the legs, maybe stacking the palms or stacking forearms and allow the forehead to rest if they don't quite reach your legs. And again, no bonus points if the forehead does touch your knees or your shins, or I don't know, your nose somehow magically reaches your toes. Breathe here. And then on your next exhale, using the hands to guide the torso back up, very slowly release. And we're going to take half straddle from here. So first, let's start by taking the legs out wide. And then we're going to draw the left heel. You can either take the left heel on the inside of the groin, or you can bend that right knee and hug that right foot in toward the right hip. So if this creates any tension or compression in the right knee, let's take this kind of, this was really closer to a half butterfly, but whichever variation feels good for you in your body. And then we'll inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, turn the torso toward the left leg, flex the left foot. And then on your exhale, allow the hands to come down, coming into this half straddle on the left. And then option to keep the spine long, or if you would like to fold a little bit further forward, really focusing into that back side of the left leg. Flexing the foot. The more you flex the foot, the more you'll be able to get into the back of the calf. We did a lot of work in the calves tonight, so don't be surprised if you feel this tomorrow. So really getting into that muscle group right now as we cool down will really help you. Love me more tomorrow. On your next exhale, start to walk the hands back up. And then let's very slowly switch sides. So releasing that right foot, allow the right foot to come out to the side. And then taking that option with the left, either coming in toward the groin or allowing the knee to bend and that left foot coming in toward the left hip. Inhale, grow tall in the spine. Turn toward that right leg, and then on the exhale, allowing the torso to fold over that right leg. Really flexing that right foot. Noticing if that right quad wants to get involved, and see if you can just soften that top of the thigh there. As our practice begins to slow down, this is when the mind likes to wander. And even though we don't need the fire of the breath in this more passive part of our practice, you do need that rhythm and the sound to help us stay present here, so that we are mindful in the movements with our body and caring for our body here, honoring what it is our bodies need tonight. On your next exhale, walking the hands back in, lifting the torso, untuck that left leg, and let's shake out the legs here. And we're going to come all the way onto our backs. You can keep this little blanket underneath the hips for some additional cushion. We're going to take legs up the sky, and sometimes it's just nice to have something. I have a bony, bony uh, sacral joints, hip joints in the back. So it's really nice for me. I like having this little extra cushion. So draw the knees into the chest first here. And then maybe rolling out the back, rocking the knees from side to side, massaging the low back here. And find some stillness, and then reach those heels to the sky. You can point and flex the toes here. This might actually feel really nice. This will help kind of recirculate and redistribute those calf muscles, the blood that circulates in those calf muscles. So in this gentle inversion with our legs up, it allows for some of that staler blood that gets kind of held in our muscle bellies and in our muscles. And this really helps kind of release some of that staler blood and circulate newer, fresher blood, fresher oxygen into those, into your legs, into those muscles. And we'll just breathe here for a couple more rounds of breath. And feel free to take any type of movement or stillness here that feels good to you. And then draw the knees back into the chest. Allow the arms to come out to the side like a T. And then on your next exhale, allow the legs to fall over to the left, coming into this easy twist. Keeping the shoulder planted on the earth. So maybe changing and moving the legs around a little bit so that you can still stay planted and rooted in that right shoulder. And as we draw closer to the end of our practice, starting to cultivate some gratitude for your body. Maybe in this moment, sending the breath into the space of the body in which you're feeling the most grateful for this evening. So maybe that's the heart for pumping life, blood, and oxygen. Maybe it's the calves for working so hard. Maybe it's your feet and ankles, these tiny parts of the body that are truly so strong and help, and they hold us up every day. On your next inhale, draw the knees back to center. And then exhale, allow the legs to fall over to the right. Again, staying rooted, anchoring that left shoulder to the earth. And then playing with any variation for your legs. So maybe staggering legs or knees still stacked and lowering, just playing with that. Allows you to get into this nice twist into the side, left side body now. Maybe still focusing on the gratitude that you have for the body, for the breath. On your next inhale, draw the knees back into center. If you have that prop underneath the hips, maybe plant the feet and then just very gently scooch the hips up and allow it, take that prop out from underneath you. And then we're coming into our final resting pose. So allow the legs to come down the length of the mat. If you would like to use your prop underneath your knees, it might feel nice to roll that up and place it underneath the knees, or maybe you would like some support for the neck. Maybe creating a little pillow. Arms come down to the side, palms are facing up to the sky, and see if you can just nestle your shoulder blades in toward one another. Let's take one final cleansing breath together before I release you into Shavasana for these next few minutes. So take a deep inhale in, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Shavasana's here.
Start to invite some awareness back into the body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, maybe even sending some deeper breaths. And if you would like to finish practice with me in a seat, please feel free to make yourselves, find yourselves sitting. And if you would like to finish with hands at heart center in Anjali Mudra. I can't tell you enough. I say it, I know every time, but it's such an honor to truly like have these windows of your lives to share a window with my life, which is just so ironic because that's the saying that I've said for so many years now. And now to have this like virtual feature on Zoom to be able to say it, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of ironic, but it truly is an honor for me to share my knowledge and my experience of yoga with each of you, with hopes of one day each of you taking this knowledge and surpassing my own, and you truly finding a passion and connection with this practice beyond what I found. That would be the greatest gift for me as a teacher, as your friend, and as a fellow yogi. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Mwah.